Hello everyone, this is Gaurav from Automation Hacks and welcome to a new video in our Java for Test Automation series. In this video, we are going to take a look at language features in Java 16. So let's get started. So the first feature that we are going to look at is something that was introduced in Java version 12 as a preview feature and then later on added in Java 14. It's called as pattern matching within instance of. So again, let's take a motivating example just to understand what it is all about. So let's start with a simple test, right? I want to check that, hey, if I create, say, a string and assign it to an object, then I want to pattern match this as a certain type and then perform an assertion. And we'll take a look at what that is. We also try to do it with, an integer that is assigned to an object and again do the same thing. So coming to this, if I pass a generic object, which is the parent class for all objects in Java, what you would see is prior to Java 12, you would write a code like this, wherein you would start an if condition where you'll give the object and check whether it is an instance of string or any other type. However, reading this statement, you could immediately kind of make off, right? That object should be of type string, but you had to also typecast it in the next statement. So you had to do a typecasting of string for this object, assign it into string, and then you could use it howsoever you want, right? Now with Java 14 onwards, this is made much more concise, wherein you can write a syntax like this. So notice that this is pretty similar to the syntax that you saw just below, where you have an object, which is an instance of, but here you can also give the type of the variable that you want to check, right? So you can define it as that str should be of type string, and that's about it. Now, the compiler will automatically sort of typecast your str into a string type, and then you can use it very seamlessly. You can do a length check and things like that. So here I've just done a simple sort of print. I'm not really asserting anything, but we can as well. So if the object that I pass is of type string, then I do a length on it. If it is not of the type string, then I just print not a string. So let's run this test. And you can see that for the first line that I had passed, right, when object was having value hello, it would print the length, which is 5 characters. And second time it is not of the type string, so it will just return not a string. So this is a very quick and simple feature that will make your code more concise. And as we proceed in the series, you will see this also being used in other places in Java. So this is definitely a path that the language is taking. Okay, so the next feature I want to talk about is records, and this is one of the major features that were introduced in Java version 16. Let's understand this. It's very useful for test automation. So quite typically within Java, you are used to creating POJOs, right? Or sort of data transfer objects, also called as DTOs. So with the version 16 onwards, Java made it very easy for you to create these immutable data transfer objects. And now notice that immutable is a key word here, which means that once you create a type of record, you can't really mutate it. And this is good for multiple reasons within programming. We can come into those reasons shortly as well. Now, what does it actually afford us, right? So what you notice is here I'm trying to create, say, a POJO or kind of in a POJO, but I'm not using like class or any other keyword, right? Instead, we introduce a new keyword called as record. I give the name of the record as user credentials, and notice that it has couple of members. So one is a string named username, another is a string named password. Pretty simple. However, what Java will do behind the scenes is, given that this record is there, it is going to generate multiple constructors, getters, etc. for us, right? All the members of records are final or constant by default. We cannot really declare a record as abstract, and they cannot use native methods. But aside from that, whenever you need, an object quickly, you can use it. And notice that the syntax is very concise. So I've given these members, I've started and opened the curly braces. I haven't really overridden anything, and that's about it. I want to use it as a simple data holder. So let's see how we will use it in code. So here is an example where we have again another test, and I want to say create couple of objects of this type that I created, right? It's very similar to how you would create any other object in Java. You define the type, the name, you use the new keyword, and then you give couple of parameters as if you are initializing the constructor. Notice the constructor gets created automatically. I again create another object with exactly same params just to demonstrate that record also provides you equals and hash code methods by default. So here I've given couple of assertions where I'm trying to check that the first object is equal to the second object, uh, trying to demonstrate that equals is provided for us. And also if I want to check the hash code for the first object and the second object, then also it should work. Now, the second part is about getters, right? How do you actually get value out of these objects that are created? So how do you access values from a record? You don't really need to call get or that kind of prefix. Records do directly give you access to the property name that you want to access without the get, and you call a method. So say I want to access other members, I can, choose among whatever I'm needing in that moment and just access it. Makes the code a little bit more concise. And I do a similar check on passwords as well. So let's run this. And of course, the test passes, which means that these two objects are essentially equal and they have the same values as well as, the hash code values. So makes a lot of sense. Now, a slightly more complex example on top of it is that you can use record classes even in inner classes. Now in Java, inner class is a class within a class. Sometimes if you want to implement, say, data hiding and you want to modularize some piece of code within a class, you might want to choose to write it as an inner class. So let's see an example of this. So here I have a class which is very intuitively named as outer class, and it has another class inside it called as inner class. And now within this inner class, I have initialized this record object. So I've created a new instance of user credentials. I have assigned it to, user credentials. And now how would I access it? Let's see an example of that. So I create an object of the outer class using, of course, outer class. Then I want to create an object of inner class. So I use outer class dot inner class name, give the name of the class, and then use outer class dot new. So this is kind of difficult to get your head around initially, but it makes a lot of sense. If you want to access a member within another class, you need to refer to the scope that is enclosing it. And then you can give the same name of the inner class. Now using inner class, you can actually access the record object. So we are using it like any other member within this, right? And I can check that, hey, the username should be equal to admin. This works as well. So that's about record classes. Now, where you might use this in automation is completely up to you, but it is very useful whenever you have to create any sort of immutable object that you want to pass around. So I use it to say create context objects that I will pass around in assertion classes. I might use it. I might also use it as a way to provide a structure of a JSON and then basically deserialize my JSON into a record object and then pass it along. I also don't need to use Lombok or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless with this. And I would encourage you to use record classes as it makes your code much more concise. It's a first class feature within Java language. Other languages like Kotlin have something similar called as data class, which has slightly more functionality, but the concept remains pretty much same. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and a sub, and please share it with your friends so that they can also learn something new. And that's about it. See you in the next one.